How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video on the garage build WRC Peugeot 206. Now, obviously I've done two previous episodes on this, I think, or maybe three episodes at this point, but two during the actual build, and the last one was maybe, I don't know, a few months ago now. Literally, time is just disappearing so strangely during lockdown. But there's been some big progress and I wanted to share it with you guys. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Without further ado, let's have a look over this ridiculous build. So let's quickly recap on what's going on here. So my dad is building a 2000 Peugeot 206 WRC car as a modern day replica, basically, to pretty much exactly the same specification as it was when it went rallying. So this is exactly as it should be, basically. So if we go around here and we have a look, so beforehand I mentioned that obviously the body kit had gone on, including the rear bumper, obviously all of this bit here being the much wider wheel arch, the much wider wheel arch as well over here too. As you can see, it really juts out from the car in particular. There's some key details like these, which are the stand points that have been put into the car. So you'd put little stands in here that sort of mount into the side, or the rally team would. Around the front, you've got obviously the original bonnet, because they actually had an original bonnet on the car as well. And you've got also under here this engine as well, which has been mated to a Mitsubishi gearbox, so an Evo gearbox in there. And all of that has been a lot of hard work and effort. And if you want to get more up to date on all of that stuff that's gone into the car, go check out my previous video on this build. I'll link it on the screen and also in the description. You really don't want to miss that video, because it explains how my dad built this entire roll cage from scratch using just metal, including welding all of this stuff all around inside the car, including welding above. So very clever techniques used to do that. But I wanted to give you a brief update on the kind of stuff that's been done recently. And if you look at the interior of the car, you can start to get an idea of the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So let's start at the back of the car. And before we do, let me just quickly preface this with the fact that the car is moving quite slowly at the moment, simply because of one, lockdown, two, if you've watched the video where I bought my supercharged MX-5, you'll have seen that my dad money shifted the Renault 5 Maxi Turbo rally car. So he's been spending a lot of time and all of his evenings and stuff working on getting that fixed, and it's nearly fixed now, so we can devote a bit more attention to this. So yes, that's been a key block for getting this done faster. And also on top of all of that as well, obviously with lockdown decreasing generally, he's been getting more work, so he's been spending more time out there working on cars and less time in here working on the Peugeot. So with that out of the way, let's have a look around this car. So yes, as I said, starting at the back of the car, you can see here that we have got the spare wheel in. In reality, this spare wheel will be fully strapped down into the car. You use straps to basically hold it in place on the original car, and it will be the same in here for the spare. He's also got the other four wheels as well. So he's got this one and then four identical wheels as well, which aren't obviously on the car yet, but they will go on at some point. So yes, those are going to come in sooner or later. They're slightly different to the original ones. The original ones were 5 spokes and these are 6 spokes, but they were relatively reasonable on price, and also they look quite good. They're still in the correct color, being white. Another big thing that has changed in the back of this car is this. So this is the fuel tank. You can see it's all here and all under there as well. It's not completely finished yet, but that is the fuel tank. This is going to be covered in carbon fiber at some point, because in the original car it had a carbon fiber covering over it. But you can really get a glimpse of kind of how this was designed for the original Peugeot 206 rally car, with just enough space for the spare wheel to fit just inside there. You can see literally it just about clears it, and my dad has basically replicated exactly that all the way through to fit the exact dimensions of the car. There was also a first aid kit inside the car. I'm actually not sure where it fits. I think it fits in over there somewhere, but yes, that's going to go into the back at some point too. It's the little details like that that really turn this build from being just a random garage build replica into being a real sort of one-to-one perfect replica. And can I just mention how mad that looks in there with the cage? It's just absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? All of this stuff, got the top mounts in as well now, which is pretty cool. But yes, all of this caging up in here is so cool to see. There should at some point be a sort of rail here that will house where the helmets go. So there's a rail in the middle. It's either going to go there or it's going to sit up off of the floor. We're not 100% certain yet. If we jump around to the front of the car for a moment, we jump under here, you can just about get a glimpse of the transmission being made to the engine as I showed you at the start of the video. But more importantly now than this is the fact that under the car we've got all of this up in the correct place, and you can see that this has now been modified to allow for the drive shaft to come through. That's a bit better, right? So here you can see this is the little subframe that goes under the front of the car. In the previous video, you will have seen that all the way across here, that was a single straight piece, and that would have fouled the drive shaft. Obviously that's had to be changed, so we've got this nice big thick piece in here in order to allow for the drive shaft to fit through it. But obviously the Peugeot 206 WRC car was a four-wheel drive car, so under here you will see that we also have the second half of that fully in place. So you've got the drivetrain tunnel coming in through underneath there, and then it would link up here. So it's just mounted into place for now. It's not fully mounted onto the car, but yes, that is very much in place with this subframe as well that has been built underneath it. So yes, of course, you can stop asking me in the comments, there will be a four-wheel drive car. That's just literally, it couldn't be a WRC car if it wasn't all-wheel drive. But I think the biggest changes that you'll see from last video to this video that are actually big changes have all happened in here. So one of the coolest features, and we can start right with it, is this absolutely massive center console that's in the original rally car as well. All of this is carbon fiber and then painted, and obviously you've got exposed carbon fiber here with all of the switches in place as well. So these are all the correct switches for the car, and then all of this is carbon fiber built by one of my dad's mates. You've got this here, and lots of the wiring is already in place as well, so you'd open this to be able to reach lots of the wiring. Yeah, this is a insane piece of machinery there. If you look in there, you can see that in the clock section, you've also got carbon fiber in there, but all of this, as I say, is carbon fiber. We've currently got more carbon fiber in the passenger side dash as well as the driver's side dash as well. You can see it in there. And also the entire of the dashboard has been flocked. So obviously my dad had to build this bit here. He had to build all of this onto the car, and then he flocked the whole dashboard all the way through just as it is in the original rally car. Another point to note is that this box has been put in here behind the steering wheel. So obviously it's a quick release steering wheel, but this wasn't in place the last time we had a look at it. So he's built this into it so that you can hide the steering column. And then also some of the hosing has gone in here on the handbrake. So as you can see, it's a hydraulic handbrake, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty beastly. It's very Ken Block-esque in my opinion. But yes, all of the hosing is starting to go in, and that's starting to feed back into the back of the car as well. Just putting it out there, how cool is this button right here? That is so sick, as well as this little flip down here as well. It feels like a fighter jet or something. Not to mention, we've got two more key features within this car that are important for safety. The fire extinguisher is in down here, and there is also a handheld fire extinguisher down there as well on the driver's side, just in case. And there will also at some point be a third fire extinguisher that will go in here just behind the driver's seat. That one will be an electric one instead of a handheld one. One more point to note in here as well is that the battery is also now in place and held down, as you can see. That will also get covered in a carbon fiber cover too. So a couple more bits I've just forgotten to mention. Over here you've got a driver's side footrest that's been put in, as well as a passenger side footrest as well in carbon fiber, which is pretty cool. And not to mention as well, the last time I recorded this car, it didn't have a windscreen in. The windscreen is now in. One thing that we'll have to change in the not too distant future is over here you've got the standard wing still on the car, and there's a much bigger wing that goes on the WRC car. It's already we've already got it, it's just not on the car yet. Some of the next steps on the interior include putting in the sequential shifter right here. So there was a sequential shifter that sort of came out from here, as well as paddles as well. So paddles have to happen at some point or another, but the step one is getting the sequential shifter in. My dad was saying the next stages for this car is finishing off the back of it, so getting everything in here finished, getting everything in the front of it finished as well, moving on to the engine bay and making sure that everything's in place, including the turbo, all that good stuff. There's a couple of bits and bobs in there as well that have been done in terms of some of the strut bracing for the car, I suppose. And once everything is kind of in the car, then it's a case of then stripping it all back out again, and then having the car fully painted, so internally painted and then externally painted as well, putting it all back in, putting the safety features on, like the anything that's dated basically for the FIA regulations, such as seat belts or whatever. Once all that's in the car, then it will pretty much be a car, I suppose. But yeah, that's not to mention the fact that we still need to get the suspension setup done, including obviously the wishbones and stuff that will come out from there. And then obviously the front bumper has never even been laid up to the car fully and kind of stuck in place. So the front bumper needs to be done. All the suspension around here needs to be done as well to be able to be set up for tarmac and gravel. And I think that's probably about it, but it's still a long way off for now. There's plenty more to be done, and yeah, it's just cool to be able to follow the project along and see how it's going. So I am rapidly running out of light here, so apologies for being a very whistle-stop tour of the car, but I really wanted to get a video like this for you guys. Loads of you have been asking me, where is the Peugeot at? And it's still exactly right here. It's just slowly chugging along, getting work done to it every day, but not maybe making the big steps to look really good on a YouTube thumbnail. Obviously, I have to remind you that all of this work has been done by him back there. Can I just say, by the way, in the last how many months, he has supercharged the Japanese car. He has obviously built this Peugeot 206 WRC car. He's also rebuilt his Renault 5 Maxi Turbo Group B rally car. I mean, he just literally just car to car to car to car, not to mention the fact that he's actually a mechanic by trade, so he's working on cars all the time. So dude is absolutely boshing out the cars right now. I'll try and keep you involved more often. I know that these videos come like once every 3 months or whatever, but I'll do my best. Big thanks to you guys for all of the birthday wishes on the weekend. Really do appreciate it. I've just turned 25 and feeling every day of it. But yeah, so big thank you to the patrons for their continued support, and to you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe for more weekly car content. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Listen.